Welcome to How to Start an Internet Church, presented by Brian Cochran from Gospel Worldwide. Today our webinar topics are going to be, what is an online church? Why you should start an internet church? There are opportunities, and we want to talk about that on the internet. What types of e-churches? What is needed to get started? And how we can help you start your e-church. Who am I? I'm glad you asked. My name again is Bishop Brian Cochran, and I've been dealing with online churches and online ministry now since probably about 2000. I have a online community called Gospel Worldwide, which is gww1.com. We have approximately about 300 to 350, between 300 and 350 members, active members. We have a online school, online radio stations. We have 2 of those, and we also have online TV station and a whole bunch more. And so that qualifies me for, actually, hopefully it qualifies me for teaching this course tonight or today. We want to help you to grow. And I've learned, because one of the things that has stopped us in the past, which we're going to talk about today, is why is it that all these other churches are online or on TBN or the Word Network, and other churches can't. So because of the internet, we're able to go forward, and it's a powerful tool, which we're going to talk about today. I'm a husband and a father and now a grandfather. That's who I am. What is an internet church? Internet church, or online church, e-church, or cyber church, refers to a wide variety of ways that religious groups is using the internet to facilitate its religious activities, particularly worship services. Some examples, for instance, they offer Bible studies, worship services, online conferences, prayer meetings, online school and ministry, private meetings like web conferencing, just like you're viewing right now, and a whole lot more. Why start our e-church? The Great Commission says in Mark 16:15 says, "Go into all the world, and preach the gospel." We are called to go out into all the earth, and the internet is part of the earth. It reaches all over the world, and it's a great way to be able to reach those that are lost and afflicted and towed down from the flow down. With an internet church, you're able to reach more people. The internet currently has 3,361,000 plus internet users in the world. See the opportunity? You can use an e-church for evangelism. Matthew 28:19 says, "Go ye therefore and make disciples." So utilizing internet church, you're able to do so. You can use an e-church for market and promote the gospel, getting it out there. Luke 14:23 says, "Go out into the hedges and highways and byways, and compel them to come in, so that my house will be full." So you can use it as a marketing tool, which we'll get into another webinar. But for right now, you can also use it for promoting it through your social media, which we'll talk about in a little bit, to be able to promote your church and promote the different activities you're doing. So it's a great way, having an e-church, of bringing people in, and once they become a part, then through your social media efforts, that you'll be able to promote and market your all the various activities I said earlier, as well as your church services. Matthew 25:35 through 31, and I'm going to just paraphrase. "When I was sick, you visited me. When I was in prison, you came to me." And so one of the ways you can reach those souls and reach those people, like for instance, I'm going to use my mom was sick and she couldn't go to church, and so she was able to tune in through our online resources, so she can still catch services even though she couldn't make it, and she gave online. So you can develop great outreach programs, such as different training programs, from business startup to marriage counseling or marriage ministry, youth ministry, all the different ministries. You can use the outreach as far as training and online fun stuff to get people to tune in, become a part of your online church. You can offer counseling, training courses, and various how-tos, like how to, again, go into business, or how to get a job, or how to cook, or how to fix a car, and so forth, and use it as outreach to draw them in as different activities. It's not preaching the gospel, but it's reaching out to those into the world that may learn how to do certain things. You lead them to Christ through a specific way, that we're going to teach you how to do that, and so on and so forth. For those that are shut in and sick, as you see the pictures from prison, hospitals, at home, and in the workplace, having an ECHURCH, they will be able to tune in. I have some friends that work, for instance, on Sundays, and so they couldn't make it, so they were able to tune in, and catch the broadcast while they were at work. As well as we had a great, online prison ministry that they were able to tune in and check out the worship service. The startup cost is very, very nominal, from free to, whatever your budget can curtail. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Did you know that you can receive tithes, offerings, and donations online? Through text to give, through your online website, having a website. Also, they can give donations online as well. So that's the power of having an e-church. Types of online churches. Video streaming. Churches that stream live. I put a couple of examples. One on the left is New Direction Church of God in Christ, Bishop Raymond E. Watts. We help them develop their online services that they stream online through live stream, which is a free service. Mount Zion Baptist Church in Ontario, California, Pastor Brian Kennedy. They also broadcast on another free service called Ustream, and both of these services work really well. People tune in. They both archive, and we'll get into that a little bit, in another video. But you're able to, once it's aired, that they can go back and if someone missed those services, because you have an online church, you can actually put them on your website for folks to check out later, or you can go to Ustream or Livestream or many of the other services that are out there for a person to be able to go back on demand to view those services if they missed it live. Video broadcasting, live or pre-recorded or pre-taped, you can do it. Up to 1 million people can tune in or more, depending on the service that you use. So, say for instance, YouTube is the one that you can stream live. It's unlimited because YouTube is probably the largest content provider, and they offer live streaming as one of the solutions if you're a preferred. Sorry. You're a preferred YouTube vlogger. There are two basic ways to videocast: private conferencing, like what we're doing right now, and webcasting, which is sending out a broadcast, just like similar to TV. Web conferencing is used to conduct live meetings, trainings, and presentations via the internet. In a web conference, each participant sits at his or her own desk computer, today now also smartphone or tablets, and is connected to other people through the internet. Basic ways of webcasting: private meetings, basic services and Bible studies, or broadcast services and Bible studies, online school of ministry, prayer room ministry, which is really big. So and let me stop there just for a second. One of the churches that we work with, they offer a prayer room ministry using the web conferencing system. So that way, those folks that want prayer on a certain time, a day or a month or a week, they offer folks to be able to come in and pray or get prayed for. As well as we have an online school of ministry where we offer. We're fully accredited, so a person can get their degree and they can learn at their own time and so forth, as well as offering Bible studies and so forth. Something relatively new for the last couple of years is called video blog or vlogging, and that's where it came from YouTube, where instead of typing up, which is a normal way to blog, you would type. But today, because of how modern the internet is and how advanced it's become, it's something called vlogging, where instead of talking, you videotape yourself, and then you post it on YouTube, your website, or other social media websites. Online church using audio. eChurch using email and radio. Pastor Kevin Mitchell is one of the first pastors that we helped them to get their ministry started. He has his website called Living the Love Walk, where he's developed an online community. He started off, if you look on the right, it says started with an email ministry. He sent out his messages to over 350 people. He had several different messages that he sent out. One was Message to the Overcomers. He sent out a weekly prayer. And then now he also has a radio show on a radio station called LLW Radio. And what's so awesome about it, before video came out and doing webcasting, he started off with emails. And emails is wonderful because folks opt in to be a part of that, a part of your ministry, and as you send out, whatever the message is, if it's a weekly Bible study, if it's a weekly word of encouragement, daily devotional, a newsletter, whatever you want to do, because they've opted in, you can send them as many messages as you want to. Don't spam them where you send them something all the time and every day, but developing a relationship, you can if they want it. If you're saying, hey, we're going to send you out a daily devotional, then every day you will send them something via the email, which guess what? The cool part about it is it goes right into their smartphone. And then as he grew in his ministry and he needed more, he offered internet radio. So now on his website, you can tune in and listen to his shows, his weekly shows that he offers. Pastor Gabriel for Mission for Him Radio. He's out of here local in San Marino, California. What he did was he had a ministry that he does church online, and he also has different services and different pastors and ministers come in. So he developed a full radio station, which is something that's available to you as well. So what he does is on the left-hand side, that's him there with his looking at us. He hosts a show. He has a show that he does every Tuesday, and then he has others that come in on the other days and do shows as well. So he gets the gospel out using the internet as a vehicle to do so, and he's doing a great job in the name of Jesus. Podcasting, which is something relatively new. A lot of folks don't know about it, but it's a power medium. It's using audio. It's something that iTunes is the probably the largest one that people use the most. Let's get into what is podcasting. Glad you asked. Podcasts are digital media files, most often audio, but they can be video as well, which are produced in a series. So what happens is, just like when you watch on TV and you'll see a series of shows, or online you'll see a series of shows, where podcasts are set up the same way. In most cases, they're not live, they're pre-recorded, and then you digitally produce them, and then you download them, upload them to YouTube or any of the other podcasting distribution networks, and you send out a message on a weekly or daily basis based upon how often you send your podcast. A person, you can subscribe to a series or files or podcast by using a piece of software called a podcatcher, basically like iTunes, which I mentioned before. You can create podcasts both on audio and video. And so that's one of the mediums I haven't really gotten into yet, but I'm going to get started, because what I realized is basically it's audio on demand. And so if a person subscribes, then what they do is they subscribe to your series or to your ministry, and on a weekly basis, or how often, or a monthly basis, or how often you want to do it. So say, for instance, you do a weekly worship service and a weekly Bible study. You can make those in a series, and a person would automatically get it to their smartphone or their tablet or on their computer. I'm forgetting about computers because folks are not using the computers much anymore, so I'm sorry for being tongue-tied. You can also use online church for print. Articles and blogs. Articles, we'll start with articles, written in the third person, static on a website, designed to be read carefully, contains a lot of data and statistics, is 1,500 words or more, just like in a newspaper. Explanations, analysis, reports. It's scholarly in tone. It educates, informs, and states the facts, and it's arranged by category. Or you can also do it in parts as well. A blog is something less informal. It's written in the first person usually. Readers can subscribe. Designed to be easy to scan. So it's something that is not as deep as an article, but something that's more formal, something where you can rant. Like I use blogs for rants or something to have an idea, something that's just less it's informal. So that way, if I want to just get something out real quick, then I'll do it, or something I've learned, or something I want to share, or something God gave me, then I'll blog about it, and then I prepare articles which are in series. And usually what happens is articles end up as well as blogs, but more so articles. If I do a whole series of articles, they end up becoming ebooks or books. Usually with blogs, there are tips, lessons, and tools. It's in a helpful tone or fun tone in some cases, just like vlogging is the same thing. So vlog is the same, so you could use the video versus print. Options, insights, encourages, and interaction, arranged chronologically by category. And so I use a combination of both because, again, there's times that I want to be formal, so I write a formal article. Like in a Bible study, I would do an article in a Bible study, and be formal, or I would put my sermon notes through an article and then talk about it in a more formal tone. And then with a blog, if something I got a revelation on something, that I would use a blog or a vlog a lot of times, but I'm using more vlogs than blogs lately. E-newsletter is something similar to who I was talking about, the pastor earlier, where he was using email. Well, a newsletter is a regularly distributed publication that is generally about one main topic of interest to its subscribers. So let me kind of stop here for just a moment. What is so awesome, that's how I started. I started with email ministry by myself because when I first got into this, I couldn't afford to advertise. I couldn't afford to pay the bills for internet radio or internet TV. It wasn't cost effective, and so I started off with email ministry. And so what I did was I would get people to subscribe, and what I would do is I would go to events, and I would ask for business cards, or I would put on events, and I would always have, when I would go to an event, or when I would do an event, or I was DJing or speaking somewhere, I would have people sign up for my newsletter. And then I would start sending them devotionals and how-tos and upcoming events. And then it ended up becoming a great ministry where other folks started having me send out stuff because my list got to, I probably have about 20,000 folks on my newsletter list, on various lists that I have broken down in various ways. So it has been a great resource for me because as people, something called capture page, and I'm not going to get into all that right now because it's part of email marketing, but I've been able to use this for list building. So when I'm doing special events, or I want to get something out, or I release a book or something like that, I will send it out in a newsletter to let folks know that are my subscribers or partners or members, because it's really it's awesome for ECHURCH, because when they become members, then they've already given you, in some cases, the opt-in for them to receive a newsletter. So that way, when you're doing something in your church, doing something in ministry, something in the community, or you need some help, then you use a newsletter to do so. It's a powerful, powerful tool, and I still use it today. Telecommunications, online church usage. And this is an awesome one because this is something in the 21st century. Smartphone users, 64% of American adults are using a smartphone. Smartphone owners is specifically high in millennials, relatively high income earners, and high education levels. So do you see the opportunity that, right now, if you look almost everywhere, somebody's on a smartphone versus having a regular phone? Probably, it's probably the percentage is a little bit higher than when I put the 64%. But there's a great opportunity for ministry using, if you go using it to go to the smartphone. Market your customers with text messages or SMS. And this is a powerful tool I use as well. So once a person opts in, they can opt into this as well. And through this, you can send them straight to their telephone. You can send them a daily devotional. Like I got a friend, he's in Nevada. He's in Vegas. And he sends me, I opted in years ago for the last 3 years straight, every single day, I would get a daily devotional from him just to encourage me and back with text and some with personal testimonies of what he's doing. So it's a great way to reach somebody using text messaging. Not just talking one another, but you can also promote the gospel this way as well. As a matter of fact, there's a church, the Rock Church down in San Diego, Pastor Miles McPherson, he does something pretty awesome. They have a way folks get saved using text messaging. So what they do is they have a friend that needs that that's not saved, and then they've created these powerful videos that when they send out this text to a person, they say, hey, my friend loves you so much that he wants you to watch this video. So this video, it talks about the love of God and all the things that it's evangelistic tool, and people get saved through this texting. So don't look at it lightly. It's a great way to use it. He's gotten over 10,000 people saved using text messaging. So you have to, again, you have to foreplan and so forth, which we can help you do that as well. But don't look at it shortly. Just look at it as something that can really help you in using text messaging to get your message out. And seek and save which that is lost. Smartphones and apps. Today, you got some great church apps out there, and some of the benefits are all members can send donations. They can be, added to a prayer list form. You can integrate your blogs, your videos, your podcasts, your live feeds, your live audio, your live radio. You can also connect to the live services on Sunday, which we talked about earlier, going seeking and save which that is lost. This is a perfect way because if you have the majority of people that are using smartphones, they can tune in and watch your service or Bible studies or whatever through your own app. And so you can send out messages directly to your members, again, from daily devotions to Bible studies. They can view online. I have a couple churches that I work with. We got them set up where they're actually having the sermon notes while they're preaching online. The sermon notes are on their phone using an app. Or they're streaming online and just making it interactive, because being relevant today, you want to be interactive. You want to be relevant because you're trying to critique and say what has lost and stay up with the times, because a lot of churches are online. A lot of people that are not saved and saved are online and using mobile technology and using smartphones. So if you're an emerging church, you want to be an emerging church, you want to grow your church, this is one of the powerful means of doing so. So, where do we start? Glad you asked. Planning for an e-church? Let's talk about that right now. Decide what type of e-church you want to launch. Don't try to do everything at one time. Please don't do that. One, you'll be overwhelmed, and two, it won't work well. It took me years to get where I'm at right now. I didn't just do it overnight. I tried by trial and error. I've been able to build the community the way it is now, but I didn't do it overnight. And it's so funny because I didn't think of it originally, because the language wasn't about an e-church or internet church. It was just building a community of believers and seek and save which that is lost. And so, but it took me time to decide. I knew I wanted an online community. I knew I wanted to help people and help them grow in their faith. I knew I wanted to go out and seek and save what I was lost. But I started off with email ministry, like I talked about earlier, and then as the ministry grew, and as I learned more and had time to do more, then I launched more. So please take your time. The race is not to the swift or the strong, but the one who endures to the end. So take your time. It's also based upon your budget. As I shared earlier, a couple of churches that I put them on purpose. They started off with free streaming, because it was something that in their budget they wanted to test it out and get started. And then there's several other churches that we got them on private stream, so that way they can control everything themselves, because they're a larger church and they had a larger budget, and their vision and goals were a whole lot more because they wanted to be more holistic in their approach as far as online church. Who is going to handle your e-church? And that's one of the things that's important as well. As a pastor or church leader or apostle or the head of your church, unless your church is small and you have the time to do it, find someone in your church that's internet savvy, that understands certain aspects, and we can teach them the rest, or you can learn the rest one way or the other, so to be able to get going. So don't you try to do everything between, you do your regular church and so forth, because one of the things I noticed, and I'll use T.D. Jakes for instance. T.D. Jakes, who is a mega ministry, one of the largest churches in America, one of the most profound preachers of the gospel we know today. He has an e-church, and I look at his e-church, and and what happens is I use Roku to tune in and watch it every week, right? And if you don't know who Roku is, it's a internet protocol TV network where through the internet you're able to watch all kind of channels, your regular broadcast channels and movie channels and so on and so forth. So anyway, it has tons, and I love it because it has tons of churches that are on there as well. Excuse me, took a swig of water. So looking at what he put together, he doesn't stay up to date. So even though he has the budget and has the people, but if you don't have a person that's really dedicated to handle it. Even a mega church like his, falls behind. So what happens is sometimes I don't catch it. I try to catch it in the morning. His service, because he's in Texas, starts at 7, and we're on the West Coast in California. So at 7 o'clock our time, he's on, and 9 o'clock his time. So 2 hours, 2 hour time difference. And so if I don't catch it live, I'll say, oh, yeah, I can catch a rebroadcast later. But unfortunately, they don't keep up with the rebroadcast, and so I missed out. So lately, I've not been watching. If I've missed it, I don't bother tuning back in because there's no reason why. So you want to make sure you have someone that can handle it, so that way they can stay up to date, they can stay relevant, so that way you don't lose people, because you don't want to lose people. You want to be able to supply their needs and be able to meet their needs, because they're online and they're buying into your ministry, they're partnering with you, and they're giving and sowing and participating and learning about the gospel and growing in their faith, as I said a second ago, and you don't want to lose them. So please make sure you have someone that can handle it. So that way you take your time. So we'll say start small, take your time, and then find someone, even if you have to pay them a stipend to do it, or some college kid that's going to school for it. Then you work out something with them, so that way they do it until you can pay somebody to do it full time. Tools needed to do it. One, you need a website. You need a camera or a webcam or a tablet, smartphone, laptop, or PC, and I'll go into more details in a second. Some type of broadcasting service or services. All right, let's start here. Website. I recommend using I have a custom, huge, probably a couple $100,000 system now. Probably $100,000 now, because I have a programmer that every day we work on it, and we've been working on it now full time since about 2005. So we've added and added and added and added and learned and changed and did and so forth. And so, but for ease of use and to get you up today, I would say you would get a WordPress membership site. And again, if you need help with that, we can help you with that. But I would recommend that, because they got something called plugins, and these plugins give you all these things that as you grow, you can do. You can use those benefits, those plugins, to help you in your church and your ministry. It has one of the main things it has in it with a membership site is a contact management system. So what happens is when a person joins, now you have access to send them newsletters, find out how often they come online, and know who's your partners. And so that way you can follow up, which is the most important part. I'll say it again, follow up with them, because part of your assimilation process as them being on church is them being a member. So they sign up and register just like you, not necessarily the same way you would if they came in in a normal church or some type of application, but they would do a simple form, and then that way you can follow up. You can add birthdays and whatever else you want to with it, so that way when their birthdays come and how many kids, and so you can have a children's ministry online, you can have a youth ministry, and then you have designated people, which are your youth pastor, your children's pastor, women's pastor, men's pastor, whoever else that whatever outreach programs could all use a contact management system for follow-up, so that way those that are members online will get serviced where they deserve and need. You can also add, because it's a WordPress, you can add blogs and articles and vlogs. So at the same time, you can have video, you can have print, and stay relevant. So again, the difference between a website and a membership site, for instance, or a community site, is that a website is one-dimensional, where you are the only contributor. With a membership site, depending on which membership software you get or template you get, others can add as well, so they can add content to it. Well, actually, with WordPress, I don't think you can. With a full membership site, you can, like ours. Ours is set up where you can add, as a member, you can add your Bible studies, you can add your lesson plans, you can, there's tons of stuff you can do, because it's interactive. So it's not just you adding content, but everybody else can too. But for the most part, it's great, because with a WordPress, it's very inexpensive hosting, and plus WordPress itself is free. And then the membership site is anywhere from $6 to I guess maybe $100 a month, or you can get they have some that just a flat fee, anywhere from $60 to $100 for the plugin. Tons of great plugins, as I just said a second ago. There's tons of stuff. So if you want to do SEO for site optimization to other tons of just forums and other stuff that you want to add, pictures, portfolios, videos, all that kind of stuff. They got tons of plugins, which again I'm not going to get into great detail because it's not important, but that's because that's one of the reasons I promote the WordPress website, because it's got things that can grow. When you grow, it can grow with you. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts. If you want to do a live broadcast, then these are some of the free services that are out there. YouTube is free. One, you could just post it. You could pre-record it and post it until you get validated. I forgot what the proper word is, but once you become a verified, there we go, YouTuber, then they'll open it up for you to do a live broadcast. Periscope is brand new and it's phenomenal. It's where a lot of the churches I've seen lately are using Periscope because of it being free. And so what they'll do is through a smartphone or tablet or through a computer. There's ways of getting around that. I use my smartphone, and I have adapters to adapt it to a tripod, so that way when I'm at certain places, I'll stream it live because it's really easy. A couple seconds is up and running, and then people join in. And what's so cool about it is anybody and everybody, because it's relatively new. There's a lot of folks looking for different content, so they may tune into your service. And then there's other companies that created stuff. So like Periscope, for instance, is not available for you to download it, but they have other services that are out there, which is on our website. Some of the articles that we have actually a full Periscope course that goes in great detail on how to use it. It has where you can download it, so that way if you do stream it live, it stays up, I believe, for 24 hours, and then it goes down. But if you take it and use the system, this other third-party software, then our app, you're able to download it, so that way you can archive it to your website or post it on YouTube or wherever you want to post it. Ustream is another service. That's the first one I started with as far as streaming wise. It was a great service because I was doing two things. One, I was doing internet radio and using that at the same time, so that way folks were in the studio would be able to see me live as I was DJing or I have a studio guest or whatever. Ustream is free. They changed up their plan, so I used to be able to do unlimited. Now they got it where you got to buy a professional one. But if you're just getting started, it's a great free service. A lot of other services use them. You can have your own hosted service where you can broadcast to thousands, and that's something that we offer, and we'll get into more details another time. Live stream is like I showed you earlier. That's what New Direction used and others use. A lot of people use. It's the same thing. They have a free part that you can have up to maybe 25 or 50 viewers. And then after that, you have to step up and pay. You have to pay. The only one that's free that you can get millions on is YouTube. And then Vimeo is another one. There's tons of other ones, but those are the basic ones I wanted to show you. So that way you can just kind of get going and understand that you can broadcast for free. Now, if you want to host your own show or be on a station of somebody else's, Vlog Talk is a service that Vlog Talk Radio is a good service. Live 365 Radio.com is another great one. I used to use Radio Loyalty, which was a great service for free. You have to have a software, which I had already because I was doing streaming before, which is called Sound Broadcaster, which again for this video I don't want to get into that, or this webinar I don't want to get into the particulars just for the sake of time. I just kind of want to show you some of the free services, how you get started today for absolutely free. TuneIn Radio, I use that as one of my distribution networks. Because a lot of folks use it, and there's thousands and thousands of other stations that you can actually have a show on it or start your own show. Now, we have an all-in-one solution. Excuse me. That we partner with a company called I Am Tool Suite. And I Am Tool Suite, it says LMM Tool Suite, but it's I Am Tool Suite. It's awesome because I use it for live webcasting. I can use my text messaging. I can use it has Contact Manager in it. I'll start from the top and go across and take a couple seconds on some, and I'll skip around because some are not important for this broadcast because the main parts for what you're going to be wanting to do are in the system. So, for instance, if you wanted, for live web conferencing, it'll set up for you to do a capture page to capture the information, send them a link for them for a private web conferencing, for instance. That's an awesome one. It also has a built-in contact manager. So once a person signs up for a web conference, they automatically go into your contact management system. So that way you can send them newsletters later on about other upcoming events or whatever else is going on in your church for your e-church. It has a video email service, which is kind of cool. So instead of typing up emails, you can actually create a small video or create a video to send out. Instead of typing up a regular email, you can do a video email. It has voice and text broadcaster for an autoresponder, and so that's a cool thing, because going back to what we talked about earlier, you can do daily devotionals. You can do all the things we talked about before earlier about using SMS or text messaging. You use voice as well as text. It also has down at the bottom on the right-hand corner, lower right-hand side, it says, live web show. So for live broadcasting, you can use that. So it's your Sunday worship services. You can broadcast it live, and then you can record it, and then you put it on demand. Where it says right next to it to the left is webinar on demand. So you can also make it on demand. Just like your live web conferencing, you can make it both on demand. Those are the basic ones I want to go into as far as that's concerned. There's other stuff that you can use. It's tons of services in there, but I don't want to get into all the details for the sake of time. This is a wonderful, so again, it's a glimpse of what we have to offer as I Am Tool Suite, and it's a great tool. And if you want more information, see me, or email me or contact me, and then I will give you more information on how to try it out for a couple bucks, and then get going, because it's a wonderful way to get started today. Call me for a free consultation. I hope this webinar has been a blessing to you. Something's been said and something will inspire you to get your church up and running today. You can call me at 909-816-4134. That's 909-816-4134. So we can get you set up today. I also wrote a book, which a manual on Startup Guide to Internet Broadcasting. It goes to both webcast and it goes through everything: internet broadcasting, internet radio, and so forth, in great detail. All the resources that you need to get yourself up and running. If you want to go into more details of doing it, but the information I gave you don't need the book to get started. You just need a webcam. You just need the time. You just need, if you want to actually do an internet radio station or a podcast, you need a little bit more information on that, and which is in the book. You can go to startupguide.com. That's startupguide2.com to purchase Anointed book. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar.